I've highlighted Java. You right click on that and then you click on new and you go to package, you click on package. With that you write your page object, and because we're doing registration, so I'm going to be writing registration page object, and I'll click on OK on that. Oh sorry, my bad, because we're just writing page object at the moment, so I can change that. I'll refactor and rename it just to page object of what we're trying to do. Okay, so what we then want to do now is within the registration part of it, so you right click on the page object, you click new, and then you click on Java class, and then this is where you write your registration. Page object. So once we've done that, we now need to write our code whereby it links onto our step definition, because all our elements are going to be in the page object. So it's easy to identify where your elements are in case you need to update or change anything. It just makes our code easier to read and write with the page object available. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be writing another code to be able to set up the page object on there. So we're going to be having public, then what the exact name you've got at the top here, which I'm going to highlight, which is the registration page, you're going to put that right in front of there. And then what we also want to do, because we're going to be initiating, your WebDriver has to be able to, because we're going to be using the WebDriver, which we already have on the step definition here, so that it works together, because this is static. You want it to be working together with your page object. So we're going to be initiating that right in front of the page object there. And with page object, we have something that we call page factory. All this is just to help you so that once you start writing your code will be able to work correctly. So what they would what we would normally use to be able to do that is what we call the page factory. So just write that in now, and you can see as I'm writing it, it's giving me options there, and that's what we need. Dot is giving me the next option, which is in its elements, and then we want to make sure that our driver, which is this driver here, is working. So we're going to put that in there. Okay, so that's all setting up our page object here. So once the page object has been set up, like I said, you want it to be able to work with your step definition because they are both working hand in hand. So you then need to go into your step definition and you want to initiate this page object here to work with your step definition. So what we then need to do, just like what we've done on the page object, just directly beneath your public class, you need to have a public as well for the page object. So we have public, and then the same name we have here, which is our registration page object. That's the name you want to move over to the step definition. And then you want to import that class. So it's at the top. You can see, I'll just double click on that so that all my imports are showing. So you can see this import the page object here is showing now for this. And then we want a, you can sort of write any sort of name, but you need to make sure that it corresponds with what you're trying to write with your page object. It just makes you aware of things that you're using. Like right now we're using registration page. So with me, it would just be easier to use registration to just make it easier to know that on this particular page object, everything I'm doing is with the registration. And then I'll put the semicolon. So now we want to make sure that this, I'll highlight this registration. This is the one we'll be using a lot to call all our elements into the step definition. So what I then need to do is underneath my driver equals to new Firefox, then I'm going to be calling that registration so that it works whenever I'm reusing it, which means that this registration, just move it, equals to new, then this registration page object here and then our driver. Okay, so I'll just explain what I've done here. Basically what I've done here is I'm saying that my page object here, which is here, I'm calling it that anything I write in here, I'll highlight it, should work in this step that the registration, which is, I've shortened the title. Now instead of writing page objects repeatedly, I've said registration is the same thing as this, which is my page object here. So anything I've written here, once I write registration, it should transfer and should work on my step definition. So that's basically this code here that I've written. Sorry, let me just highlight so you understand. So this code here that I've written, and I pulled it from here as well. So these two are linking together to call everything I write in the page object. So that's basically that. All I then want to do now is just to make sure that what we wrote last week, as in our Firefox, is opening to the link of get this blue sky citadel. That's what we'll be working on. So I'll just quickly clean just to make sure that everything we've written is correct. Yes, I've got a tick here, which means that that is fine. And I've got the build success at the bottom, which means that that is fine as well. So I'll just quickly run it as well, just to make sure that what I'm saying is right. So all I've done here is on the registration page, registration.feature, I've clicked on it, and then I right clicked, and then I clicked on run feature registration. And that has loaded up. So that means that everything we've done up to that stage is correct. So now what I want to then do is this form that I've loaded up, I want us to then start filling in the details in it. And how do we fill in the details? Now we're going to be getting what we call our elements. And then we're going to putting in all the details in. And to get our elements, you right click, and then you click on inspect element. That's how you get your elements on the web page. So I'll go back to my IntelliJ, and then I want to be writing all the codes. Like I said before, when you want to write your codes, you're writing it on your registration page object. That's where we want to make sure that we put all our codes. And to write the codes, now we need something, we call it find by. So we start with @ it's giving me a lot of options, and I'm sure that find by is there, which is that. I've highlighted that. If I click on that, that's what I want to use. And then in brackets, you can see it's giving me the how, what am I using there. Okay, so I'll go back into the web page that we're using, and I want to get the exact elements I'm wanting to use. So when I right click on inspect elements, it opens up this page. You can see that it's highlighted some certain things on there, and it's highlighted the blue, which is where you can get your information. Here it's been repeated numerously that your elements could be by name, by ID, by CSS class, by expert. That's how you can find your elements. On this page, we've got the ID here. Okay, let me highlight out of it. So we've got the ID, which is this, and then we've got the name here, which is that. If I right click on that, then it gives me options there. And if I go scroll on to copy, you see where it says Css Selector and Expert. So on this particular name field, we've got 4 ways in which you can pick our expert, our elements, I mean. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick my expert using the ID. So I go back to my IntelliJ, and it's giving me various options here. This is what I want to use. I want to use ID there. So I then say dot ID using equals to, and then my semicolon, and I paste what exactly I'm wanting to use. Okay, I need to import my class there. You still see that I still have like a red line underneath. Reason being, I haven't completed writing my code. And to complete that, I have private and the web element. And what I would normally like to do is try to use what is similar to what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to do the first name right now. So I'll go back into the IntelliJ and I could write first name there. Okay, hold on. Why do I have that? Okay, so that's one. Then the continuation will be the public void. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to understand why I have that red line still underneath. Yeah, hold on. I just need to understand why I have that there. I shouldn't have that. So that's at find by how crystal. Yeah. Okay, so basically, the reason I was having the underline um, since, which I had a hard time finding, was because I had the semicolon at the back of this, and you could imagine how long it was taking me to get that, even recognize that I shouldn't have had that semicolon there. So at times you need fresh pairs of eyes. You could just take a walk and come back, and you notice that you've got that, and you can then delete it. So I've not finished. So now we need to write our public void on there, which will be public void. And then what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to enter the first name into this field. So I'll take this out. I'm trying to enter the name. So on there, I'll write enter. So the first letter should always be capital. And then with the first name as well, I'm going to use capital F. And with the name, I'm going to use capital as well. Then I'll write the semicolon. And then what do I want to do? This name here that I've used here, I'm going to reuse it here. So because this is recognized for it to work with my elements. So all I've just done is all what I've written here, which I've highlighted, I'm saying their first name. So you recognize that anytime I'm getting into my web address, this first name is checking for my element, which is why I've then put it here. And then, what am I doing? I'm sending keys, which means I'm telling it to write something into that particular space, which is that. And then I could use any name, let's say John. And then that's about that for that. So just to make sure that what I've written here, most of the time, until you get really comfortable, if you're starting out new, it's best for you to, once you've written the code, just double check that what you've done is correct. You don't want to get to the bottom, or you don't want to finish writing all your code and realizing that it's not working, and then you don't know exactly where it stopped working. So best practice is to always try and run it quickly. So at least if that has worked, then you know that you can continue what you're doing. So you can see that I've quickly cleaned it just to make sure that this code I've written is correct. It's ticked, and then I've got the build success at the bottom as well. So I'm then going to run it to make sure that that code I've written works. So it tells me it passed, but I can't find my first name there. I'm expecting the name John to be showed in there. My test shows pass, but I can't find, except I've got another. No. So let's see why it's not showing the name. I'll just rerun it again. That should actually work because it showed the tick, but obviously I can't find it. I can't find John in there. Oh, you know what? I know why. Okay, let's just finish that and I'll tell you why it didn't show the name John. You see, with automation we make a lot of mistakes because obviously we think we know it already. So basically all I've done is I've written my page object, but like I said, anything I've written in my page object, I'm calling it into my step definition. I have not filled in any details in my step definition so that it registers the name John. And how I'm going to be able to do that is I go in the page object, and where I've got the public void here, where I've got the enter first name, this enter first name, I need to copy it and then go into my step definition, and then in this field here, or where I said I fill all the registration form, I then want to call this, which is this registration here. That is what is going to pull the information I've got on there. So I then have registration dot enter first name. So that is then going to pull this first name John from here and put it into this. And to make sure that what I've said is correct, let's now run it. Okay. And so that is correct. So we have our first name John there now. Then we need to get into the last name. Same thing, right click, inspect element, and then with this we still have the ID, we have the name. This time around I'm going to be using the name just to make sure that we have a lot of different ways to pick our elements. So all I'm going to be doing the same sorts that I've done in the page object. So I'll have at find by, so that's why we say in automation you have a lot of repetition. Then using, how are we, and then I put in the elements that I use. So if you notice, I've used name here. That's why name is there now. I used ID earlier. That's why ID is at the top there. Then I'll have private web element. And then I've got it as last name. So I'm going to use that there. And if you notice, here I'm using lowercase just to make it easier on myself. I don't want to start trying to understand what I could have done wrong again. So try as much as possible to use easy things that would not make it difficult for you, because the system recognizes a lot of capital letter, lower cases, and all of that. If you've done any single error, then you're looking all around for it. And so I've got enter because I'm entering the last name as well. And then at this point in time, you will notice I'm using some capital letters here. So what I then want to do here is pull this last name, and I want to put it here. And then I'm doing the same thing. I'm sending keys. I'm requesting it to enter the last name of the person. So let's say the last name of the person is Bolton. So I've got those two. Now I need to pull this information here, which is the enter last name. What I normally like to do is just copy this information, but to be honest, if you go onto your registration step and you enter the registration, once you click on the full stop, it gives you enter last name. The only reason I like to pull is because, or I like to copy and paste, is because if you've written a lot of your public voice, those sort of information, then you have a whole list of information to start trying to navigate what was the last information. So I just copy and paste and I'm done with it. So we just run it again and we'll have the first name and last name appearing. So the next thing I'm going to do is teach you how to write your own experts now. So I'm going to do 2 of that, and hopefully we'll get to a point whereby we can select or we can click on some radio buttons, which we do have here, so that we can then teach you how to write those as well. So that's fine, that has passed. So what I then need to do, I said, write your own expert. So I'm going to go into the email address. We right click, and we're going to one. Okay, so I'm right clicking, inspecting the element again. And with this one as well, we've got the ID, we've got the name, and we've got some other information here. If for instance, let's say for instance, you weren't given any of those and you needed to continue with your automation, so all you just need to do is write your own expert. And to write your own expert is quite easy. So I've done Control and F at the same time. It brings me this search HTML page, like a search screen there. And so to write your own experts, on this highlighted screen here, you see that the first letter in there is what we call input. So you put a double slash and then you have input. Okay, once we have input there, we have quite a lot of things that we can use to write our expert here. So like I said, we're ignoring the ID and the name. We're assuming that those are not in there. And the CSS selector is something that you couldn't use, like HTML and all of that. So it's not going to be possible for you to use those to write a good, to pick as an element. So you then need to write yours. So I've got what we call type. I'll highlight that. So I've got type equals to email. So I've got that there. We've got that, but that type is not an element that you can use. So we're going to use type equals to email to write your own expert. So we've initially used the first word, which is input there. We put a double slash in front of that. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to put a bracket there. So we'll have like an open and close bracket there. But in between it, that's where you then want to put your expert. So what I'll do then is I'll put hat, and then I want to put enter or type in the type equals to email. Okay. So what this will give to me is, hold on, let me see. This should tell me that it is one. Hold on. Okay. I should have it saying that that is 1 of 1, which means that I've written a correct expert there. Bear with me. Let me just see something. Okay, so I want to use that. Oh, don't flash input. Okay, so I'm going back into my IntelliJ, and I'm going to use that expert I've just written, and then that will prove that I've written a right expert. And when you're writing your expert, that means is expert. So instead of ID or name, then you're using expert. So we're using find by how equals to how dot expert using equals to, then I'll paste this expert I've written there. Private element, and I'm writing my public void. I'll answer any questions later, please. If anybody has got any questions, you can write it down, but I'll try and answer it at the ending of the training, please. Oh, sorry, I didn't write down. So email. So email dot send keys again, and then let's say j.bolton at yahoo.com. Okay. Cleaning just quickly makes you aware if there's any error, and then I'll just run it. Oh, I keep making the same mistake. I haven't pulled that enter email to my step definition. So let me just go into the step definition, registration dot enter email, and then I'll run it. Okay, so you can see that the expert I've just written shows in there. So which means that you can write your own expert yourself. Another way you can write, or you can pull an expert even if you're not writing it yourself, if there are like multiple elements on the system, on your web page. For instance, if let's say now we're going on to our confirm email, if I'm not mistaken. So let me close this down. And then email confirmation. So I'm going into that next. So there's other options as well. So if, for instance, you right click on this and you click on inspect elements, and then you've got multiple elements. Let's say you've got like 5, 6 same elements on the account. So you've got like 5 or 6 elements, and you're not wanting to write your own experts, but you still want to use the same expert there. What you can do is you can do something, we call it like a compound sort of expert. So let me explain what I mean by that. So if you Control F, and then what you want to then do at this point in time is you use your mouse and you click on, you can see where it says pick an element from the page. If you click on that, what that will do is highlight. You can see that it's highlighted the main web address that I'm on. So what that would then do is once you click on it, that will show you that that is the developers. They've used that particular page on there to start writing any of your codes or elements or anything. So that shows you that the email confirmation for that particular page is on there. So where I've got the highlighted div there, if you right click on there, then you pick the expert there, you copy it here. Like I said, this is not a good expert to use. You've got the HTML, blah, blah, blah. So that's not going to be a good expert to use. But let's assume that this is a good expert and it starts with the double slash and everything. So if you pick that, you put that there, then you go on to your email confirmation as well, and you copy the expert from that one as well. And then you paste it right behind that. That will give you one of one. Basically what that has told you is they started writing the page of the design of the web page for that particular expert. They started writing it from there, and you pick the exact email confirmation you're wanting. That would then give you one of that particular page, because you might have a lot of multiple elements, but you want for just that particular one. And so that's why you're looking for the beginning of the start of that, because you might have like a page where that they've got multiple designs on there, but that's the only one you want to pick. So that's another way you can pick your expert. If I find one that hasn't got the HTML, then I can use that as a very good example for you. But this has got HTML. I'll keep trying, but let's go on to doing, I can't use this one like I said, so I'll just go on to, let's use the CSS selector. I've not tried using CSS selector, so let's use that. Right click, click inspect elements, and then it's highlighted it for you. Then right click again, and then copy CSS selector. So what I want to do here is I want to make sure that the CSS selector is good as well. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, we can use that. Okay, so I'll go back into IntelliJ. And then I'm going to write my find by and all of the codes there. class name and CSS selector are totally different. So don't assume that they are the same thing at all. Then using equals to, and then private web element. Then that was email confirmation, so email confirm. Then semicolon at the back. So I'll now write my public void. Then we're entering as well. Email confirm. Then like I said, we're picking this. Email confirm. Oh, sorry. I don't know why that didn't copy. We're sending keys. And then we're entering the same email, which is j.bolton. Okay. So let's see if our CSS selector is fine as well. You have to bear with me. I didn't copy this. I keep forgetting. Registration dot that. Okay. So, okay, so that's fine. Okay, I'm just going to go on to the age so that we can then teach a bit on the selecting this sort of, if you see something like this, then we can do that. So I'll right click on that and I want to get the elements on that as well. So I'm going to use ID. Okay, hold on, let me see. Oh yeah, fantastic. So this is a good example. Like I was telling you, oh no, no, that's still not a good example because I need to select that. Anyway, this is the expert for this. So I'm going to use the expert for getting this. So I clicked on the 18 to 30. So that's what I expect to click on once I do that element. So I go into the page object and then I'm going to write at find by to private. So I think that was H, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, H. I'm just going to write H. So we then have the public void. So I'm clicking. I'm not entering now. I'm expecting this to click. So I want it to click. So what I'm going to write here will be click H. And I want to get the H dot click. You can see it's giving me this information. That's what I want it to do. So I then go into my step def, and then I'm going to say registration dot click H. So if we do that now, I should have it clicking the H. I'll see if I can find an example for select as well. So you can see now, oh sorry, I've just unticked it. But basically, you can see that it clicked the 18 to 30 there. So which is fine. This checkbox as well, which is the single checkbox here, that is the same thing. It is dot click. I'll do it as well so you can see. So we've got that. So because one checkbox has got the round and the other has got the square, you're writing your elements or you're writing your code in the same way. So, and you can see here it says type equals to checkbox. So that's telling you that they are still checkbox. So I've then got name here. Let's use name. So I'm just going to go in there. So I'm going into my page object. At find by. How equals to. I said I was using name, so I've got name. Name and class name are not the same, so never think they're the same. If it's class name, you see it written as class name. Okay, private web element. Then I've got app. So I'll write this as single. I could write a single checkbox, to be honest. So single checkbox. And then I go and write my public void. And then what do I want to do there? I want to click. So it's the same information. I'm clicking the single checkbox. So dot click. Oh goodness. click. Okay, so I then copy this, and I'm going to my step def for registration dot click checkbox there. Okay, now we want to make sure that that actually happened, so I'll just run it. Okay, so let me scroll down a bit, and you will see that it has ticked the single checkbox there. And then the same thing applies even when it says checkbox list tick. You're doing the same thing. You're just clicking. So you just inspect the element and inspect the element again and then write it. So the other thing we've got here is, I'm trying to see things that we can do that are not repeated, so you have an idea of how it works. So with this one, it's telling you to choose multiple of it, multiple. So you want to make sure that you've chosen that, and you chose that as well. So all you need to do, you can see it says value. It gives you an option, and it says value 1, value 2, value 3. So what you can do then is, you go to the page object, add, so what is, let me close down all of this. Okay, so in the box, I just want to make sure that all the elements for this, so you can see what I've done here. I've highlighted the whole box. So I like the whole box. You can see that this is where the element is, and it's giving me the option of select. So which means that if I'm going to be doing anything on here, I'll be using the select option, but then I'll be selecting the options from by value. That's what I'll be doing there. So the idea of this is, once you're trying to write your expert or pick your elements, you should notice the first word on here says select, which means that when you're writing it, you're going to be using the select to be able to do the multiple selection of the 1, 2, or 3 on there. So I'll go back to my, oh sorry, I've not picked my elements on there, even though I've highlighted it. So what do I want to use? Let's say I use the ID. So I'm going to pick the ID there. I'll go back into, So let me just say multi-select. So I don't want to write my public void. And like I said, we're not clicking at this point in time. We're trying to select something. So we're going to be using select. The multi. Okay, let me use lowercase there so there's no flashing. Select. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, now you then want to write your how to select your element on there. So we have new select element. Give me the option. Okay, we select that. And then what we then want to do is we want to put that option of this one here. We'll then want to put it in there. Okay, but how are we selecting it? Don't forget, it's giving us the option here. We have select by value. So that's what we're trying to do there. So we then say dot. You can see it's giving us the option and we have the select by value there. That is the value we're trying to pick. And what is the value we have here? If you go back in there, our value says 1, 2, 3. That was written as the value. So we then pick that. So if you want to do the multiple, all you just need to do is we've done that. Then I like to copy and paste a lot. So I click that and I put that there. So which is, let's say I'm using, instead of doing the 3 of them, I just wanted to highlight 2. Okay, so I've done that. Then I copy this and I take it to my step there. I've got registration dot. Okay, now I want to make sure that what I've just said is correct. So I'll just run it. And as you can see, that is absolutely correct. So the next thing I want to do, which does not make much of a difference, which is still the same sort of way, but is showing you in another sort of different way to write it, which is this select here, this one here. Is almost saying the same thing here. So you're still going to write it the same way. The only thing that this is doing is this is not giving you a multiple selection. It's just giving you selection individually. So you can only pick one or you can pick 2, or you can pick 3. That's the only difference there. So all you need to do is right click and you inspect elements. So the elements, oh sorry, hold on, I'll just go back. I don't like how that happened. So I'm right clicking, inspect element. Okay, so the same thing, you can see it says select, and I've got the ID, I've got the name as well. So let's use the name this time around, and I'm going back into my IntelliJ step definition. So at find by how equals to I said name, so I'm picking the name, then using equals to the private web element. And what am I doing there? I want to, I'm selecting as well, but obviously I need to give it a different name. Select 1, select 2. So I'll just write select text. Let me just say select text to make it a bit different. So what I then need to do is I go to the public void, I write my public void. And what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to select as well. So I'll write select. Then I've got select text. I'm going to use this as lowercase. I don't want that to clash. So I'll put that as lowercase. And then I've got, same way I've written this one, I'll just show you. So I've got that. So I've got new select. So I'll go here and write my new select. And then how am I selecting it? So I'm going back in here now. So if you click on this select page here, what have you got? You've got the same options there of select your options by value 1, 2, and 3. It says value. So that's what I'm going to use there. So I'll just go in here and say my IntelliJ, select by value as well. So I'll put in my select text dots by value. Okay, so that's that. And then I'll just type in, let me say I wanted to, let's say 3 this time around. We didn't use 3 earlier, just to make it different. So I've got 3 and 3. You can see at the same time, let me just mention something, that when I'm selecting my value, I'm picking where is I've just highlighted after that value. I'm not picking these 3, which has the capital T. You could use that as select by text. Actually, let me use select by text actually, instead of select by value again. So let me use select by text. So we're using different way of doing the select as well. So select. Oh, okay, let me see. If it doesn't give me the option of select by text, then what this gives me is select by visible text. I will assume that that is the same, to be honest. So let me try that. So I've done that. If that doesn't work, then we'll just go back to select by value. I'll go to step definition. Dot. Okay, clean. Okay, and then I'll run. Fantastic. So that actually did work. So as you can see, you've got that 3. So let me see if there's any other thing. So if we're going to do the click, the submit is still the same thing as the click. You're clicking on it. That is why it's submitting. So basically, yeah, anything that we've got there, we've sort of done. You can complete the rest yourself just to make sure that I haven't taught you everything on there. This paragraph text here on this page, you're sending text as well. Just because you have a big like text page, it doesn't mean anything. You're just sending text. The only thing that's happened is once you right click on it, you tell you how many sort of characters you can have in that particular paragraph text. That's all. So majorly we have click, we have enter, and we have select. Those are majorly the sort of things that you have to do, except if you're writing dates, then that is something else that you could find, which you probably have to search. But a lot of the time, if you do not have when you can send text for a date, if they are not like there's a particular name they call it, if they are not sort of grayed out, then you can use send keys to enter your text. If they are sort of grayed out, then you have to really dig deeper. You can, a lot of the time, you can use JavaScript to write your send keys for your dates, or there are other options as well. They are all on the internet, to be honest, but I don't have anywhere whereby I've got anything with date on here that we could try with. No, there's nothing here. But we're still supporting. So if in case you get a job and you're having issues with it, obviously you can always get in touch and we'll help you with that. So I'm not going to do everything. I've almost completed everything, to be honest. So I'm going to leave it at this, and then you can complete those yourself. So that will probably be the assignment you guys need to complete. So if anybody has got any questions now, you can send it through, and then I'll be able to answer whatever questions you've got.
Is there any question, or if you have any issues with your environment, so you want to share what the issue is? So this is time to do that. So we only have 1 week left. It's going to be next week, actually. So after that, that's the end of the training. So I think we'll kind of cover most of the things that we plan to cover. So unless if there's anything else that you think we should cover that we've not. So please let us know now. Okay, I will stop the record. I just want to actually also pass some information across. So I think if you're a team lead in the internship and you are here, so I think you should cascade this to your team. So what is going to happen? Okay, all right. So I just want to go through what we're going to be expecting from you for the remaining few days or weeks. So there will be, the first thing, there will be a career fair. So I will send this information also. There will be career fair. The date is not yet known, but tentatively it's going to be the second Saturday of October. So it's going to be the career fair. So you should come along with your CV. There will be CV review. There will be interview. There will be mock interviews also for everyone. So you need to come prepared for it. So there will be mock interviews and there will be CV reviews. There will be also questions to answer. And if you are still finding issues with your environment and everything, so you got avenue to also come, and so that you have lots of people that can solve that for you. And also so we're going to be sending feedbacks to you, so that you can actually get feedbacks from how this training went, how the internship went. So it's very, very important that we get honest feedback from you so that we can do the next batch better. It's very, very important. So we keep on improving on what we do every time. So, and then also we're going to be sending the invite for the next sessions. So if you have friends, relatives, families, that want to join the next session, so it's going to start in December. So for the next 3 months. So it's going to be a new structure that we're going to be looking into. So we will do C#. So, and it will be strictly 3 months actually. So, and it's going to be more structured, to be honest. So it's going to be 1 week of manual testing, 1 month of manual testing, and also 1 month of automation testing. So it will be more intense, and also it will be another 1 month of mobile testing. So we are not going to have the overlapping sessions like we had this time. So it's going to be one session for the 3 months actually. So probably on every Thursday. So we're going to have manual testing starting after the introduction in December, and we also going to have automation testing for 1 month. So it will be very intense. So then after that, we'll have the internship also for the next 3 months. So for that, so for the graduation of this particular set, so it's going to happen in January 2020, which also it's going to be the 1 year anniversary of the school formally, actually, because we've been running trainings for many years. So, but we actually structure it at a organized institution. So a year ago, so we're going to have like kind of a dinner, career fair dinner on that. So where we bring different speakers and to talk about their experience in jobs, and also bring different people that have gone through what you've done. So it's going to be like a dinner, actually, graduation dinner and also anniversary dinner. So in January 2020, so put that in your diary. I would come with specific dates when the time approaches. Then also I will also be sending emails requesting recommendations. So I think like Bible says, "He that watered shall be watered." So most of people that are working with me on this particular training, they are not paid. All of us, we are volunteers, and there's something I spoke to them the last time that we had meeting. So it's basically that I'm going to ask a little favor from you guys, actually, which is basically to put a little recommendations on their Facebook, on their LinkedIn profile. It will be as short as well. I'm involved in, I've gone through a training organized by the Sky Citadel, anchored by JG, or anchored by um, Viola for the BAs, or I've also gone through training anchored by Stella, and also give one or two recommendations of that. So it will really go a long way, even for us as individuals also, and also for the school also, so that it shows that we are doing something, we're impacting life. So it's very, very important that we get that recommendation. It's just the little help that we can actually ask from you if you are willing to do. And I've also told them also that, as the saying goes, one good turn deserves another, which means that if you give recommendations for one of the mentors, they would also give back to you to say, or let's say Richard say, oh, I've been able to attend training organized by Bolaji, and then Bolaji will give a feedback to it. Richard has been very good, and I was, yeah, from the question he asked and something like that. So which is something that we intend to do. So, and it's something that we'll do. So we would be sending invites for the next training. So, and like I said, it's going to be 3 months of training, and 3 months of of 3 months of training, and also 3 months of internship. So another thing I also want to mention is that this time around we also going to focus on young adults. So if you have anyone that in the age of maybe 18 to 25, you should recommend us. We're going to put them in a different group. So I think that's another area we want to focus right now. So as this is also going to be going, but we also want to focus on young adults, those guys that just finished from school, because I was talking to some of them also. They don't even know what to do. They don't know the course. They just gone fresh out of school. They don't know anything about development, nothing about BA. So we really want to impart that knowledge onto them before they go into the job market, or even maybe they are in the job market, they don't actually know where to start from. So you should, yeah, if you have those ones also, please refer them to us. And we're going to start that. They are going to have their own mentors. They are going to have their own group. Is very, very important. And if I'm also want to say that, as this is also going, we are looking for satellite venues. So if you are not living close to us, for instance, you're living far from London and you want Blue Sky to come near to you, so we would also will looking to get more people so that we can use your own, maybe if you're a church or if you're organizations, or you have lots of people in your area, you want them to be close to you, so we will form a group or a training platform for you from there. So we want to do everything together. Then you will also be in the same group together, because sometimes it's easy when people know each other. So we're looking to expand, so to different organizations, so, and also to different churches. So if you want to come on board as a mentor, also you are also free to contact myself or Abonje. So in this, we need more hands. The work is going, so we will need a lot of people to come on board. So I think that is that on the information. So Aponja is going to cascade everything in the text to you, and then we'll take it from there. Or if you are also team lead in your group, also please cascade this information to everyone. And also you would also add this video also to listen to. Any question? One thing I also want to add is the coursework. So you will start coursework by next week and it's due in the next 2 weeks. So your coursework is basically writing everything that you've learned in this course of this course. So like if you're a QA, right, I'm expecting you to go through what you've learned in manual testing, what you've learned in automation testing, what you learned in mobile testing. Also, it's not only what you learned, like, okay, I did this. You would actually write them together. Like, you went through different type of testings in mobile testing. So you went through Azure DevOps, what exactly it is, how is it used. So this is all information that will be useful for you when you are going to be doing your interviews and everything like that. So you will write those things down. Then also as a QA also, I'm expecting you to now develop your framework and put it in Git and submit it. So we're expecting two things. One, a write-up of what you learned, challenges that you face, and also, for instance, I did page object. Page object is used for that. I did step definition. This is the structure of the step definition. Step by step on how to create your framework. You need to also document those things. And then also we want to see your documentation, your framework also. Post it on GitHub and then put them together and send it to us. So there will be mentors that will be looking into that and also marking it before the days of the graduation. So it's very, very important that you submit by the 15th of October. By the 15th of October, so you submit that as coursework. For the BAs, it's also the same thing. So you add the same sessions. That what you did was, okay, we did the process flow, BRD, and what all those things, what exactly are they? And to become, I think there's an introduction to become a BA, what exactly do you need to do, what are the requirements. So you just go through your experience as a BA and what you've learned. And also during the internship, I know some people are internship, what are these process flow that you did, you need to also attach them also. So if you could put them also into into GitHub and also send the link to the test to the team also. You can send it to Abonje to collate. So that's very, very important. So what we are looking for is only the Git repository, right? So if you don't know how to do that, I think there's a video that on one of our training that we look into how to do Git repository. If you are struggle on how to do that, I think you should shout within your team. And this particular coursework is individual. So you should submit the report individual and you should do it individually. It is not collaborative effort, to be honest. It should be done individually. And also, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask people to help you, but be sure that you do it yourself. So what we're going to establish is, like, for instance, as anybody that gone through our course and say it's done, you should be able to actually say, I can actually write a simple framework from scratch. You have almost like a month right now, or like 3 weeks actually. You have 3 weeks right now to be able to start. So you already know what you're going to do. So just is basically, if you already been following, it shouldn't be an issue. Just the report that you have to do, you should have your framework. But if not, you still have 3 weeks. I think I want to see everyone getting busy from the groups. If your report, your situation, your framework is not running, so please make sure you do that. And Also, we would also put 1 week. For instance, if the if you do the career fair on the 2nd week of October, we'll give you 1 week actually, so that for those that are still struggling, we'll be able to get 1 week to be able to pass these things. But right now, the tentative day of submission is 15th of October. So, but we might give some grace if you are struggling or not, but that's what is going to happen. So on that, any question?